Welcome back. This is going to be a spicy video. If you are a NIO investor and you're currently confused about all of those different narratives out there, or maybe concerned because of your investment about NIO's cash position, unprofitability, and also whether or not they're gonna raise new money, then stick for this video, because first of all, I'm going to do a catch up with my previous video in which I reported about the news about today regarding China, but also about NIO's closing of the bonds, and also about a speculation whether or not NIO is about to raise another $3 billion, and there's an update to that. And then please also stick till the very end, because I'm talking about this chart in which I'm comparing directly Tesla to NIO and its net losses and cash positions. Now, let's first do this update, which I think is a great news that we get this today. NIO responds to the stock market speculation. So it reads, NIO is a pioneer and leading company in the premium electric vehicle market. The company has been made aware of certain media speculations claiming that the company is considering raising certain capital from investors, which have been widely circulated today. In light of the unusual market activity in the company's American depository shares today, the company would like to clarify the company currently has no reportable capital raising activity other than the recent convertible notes offering that was completed on September 25th. So this is actually coming out right after I made the last video in which I basically stated, NIO should release exactly this. I thought NIO should go out and issue an official press statement, not only talking to media, like self-media like I am, or CNEV Post, which by the way published the story first, that NIO refuted the claims. And with such a release, they are filing officially on their website and with SEC, I suppose, and therefore it's going all over the trading tickers and is an official refute. And we can actually see that in the market today. So the stock was down -8% and has now recovered to -1.5%. And I think where the market is today, that would be the normal stock price for NIO today, or the normal reaction to all of this, without all of the foul play that we're seeing out there. And before I'm going into this topic about the cash position and raising money and so on, let me comment again on this Bloomberg news, which I, in my previous video, stated that I have direct contact with the reporters, and I'm not saying that they did false reporting here. Neither does NIO, and I think that is actually exactly what they are expected to do. They're just coming out and saying, look, we see there's unusual activity going on there, because frankly, this Bloomberg note, especially if you just read the headlines, can be very mistaken for an immediate cash raise of $3 billion. But it may not be factual incorrect. There might be talks going on about, securing the next kind of funding round. That's just something normal. And actually, as an investor in NIO, I'm expecting the management to do that, because if things wouldn't work out, for example, sales are going down, then this can become very, very difficult. And if the management wouldn't have talks earlier, kind of anticipating a bad situation, then that would be bad news in my point of view, because this could really be a danger to the company. But the fact that they are engaging in such kind of talks and possibly, but not necessarily, raise that cash in a year's time or something, not today, I think that itself isn't a problematic news. And so to me, it seems like NIO is starting to get into this game in which they're responding actually fast in a way it should, and clarifying things and not leaving us, especially the retail investors, out in the blue there without knowing what's going on. Because some of the institutional investors or hedge funds, they might be able to see through that, but not all of them actually. And this is actually triggering lots of just automatic algorithmic trading and sell-offs, plus the traders are jumping on that, and who knows who else is secretly also loading up on put options or naked shorting and stuff like that. So all of that is very likely going on, and NIO seems to be learning the lesson right now and starting to protecting themselves. So that might be one very important takeaway here. In the future, possibly we shouldn't expect NIO to stay silent on these matters, and that's great news. This is investor protection. And I think this is actually a larger topic, because also we just had the NIO Tech Day, which I'm still going to cover a couple of interesting topics there, by the way. I just published a full tech day, more than 2 hours with English subtitles in my Patreon community. If you want to support this channel, keep me independent, keep letting me doing this type of work. If you want to sponsor me so that I have to do less other projects, instead can focus more on the channel, then feel free to join the Patreon community and also get exclusive content like that. Anyways, just one more short takeaway here from the NIO Tech Day is the important fact that I think NIO is starting going out there and explaining themselves more, and that should be very good news. Now let's get to the spicy part, comparing Tesla and NIO. And why I'm doing that? Well, I frequently get these comments in the comment section about NIO burning cash and all of these fear, uncertainty and doubts whether or not NIO can make it and whether or not they need new cash. And of course, at a day like this where we have this big speculation, that's of course a huge topic, right? And the thing is, I oftentimes hear this especially from Tesla shareholders or Tesla owners. And to be honest, I think that's sad to see, and it's a shame. And it's not based on fundamentals or on rationality, but it's rather based on, let's say, ideology or us versus them. And I can say I'm not this guy. I'm invested in both companies. I was lucky with Tesla. I invested when the company was not doing well, when there was lots of fear about Tesla, and I managed to see through that. I'm also invested in NIO. I'm not saying NIO is going to pull off the same thing as Tesla. I think they're different companies. But if we're just looking at some facts here, so what I've shown here are the net losses Tesla and NIO compared and some historic data. So in red you see Tesla, and obviously you can see that the hockey stick has kicked off to the happy ending. The Tesla became a profitable company, and very much so, and that's explaining a lot of the Tesla stock performance, and I think that is something to be very proud of. And that's of course because Tesla has a great product, has been pioneered by Elon Musk, and by the way also lots of short sellers have been betting against the companies, and so that in some sort may even have triggered quite a bit of this share spike here. But that's not a topic of the video. I want to come back here to the fundamentals, and in blue line you see the NIO net losses over time, and they are comparable here in terms of how much these net losses are. Maybe you can see in some quarters NIO net losses are exceeding those of Tesla, but in others they are also a little bit lower. But more or less, they're quite similar. By the way, I'm comparing here Tesla in 2017 to 2018, and in particular Q2 2018 as the last point here highlighted. So this was exactly the stage where Tesla was selling between 10,000 cars monthly to 30,000 cars monthly, and that's quite comparable where NIO is currently. And at that point in time, Tesla had, for example, here 4 quarters in a row where they were burning more than 600 million in cash each quarter. And that is quite comparable to NIO. You could say, well, NIO is slightly more, for example, in the last quarter, more than 800 million net income as a negative here. But at the same time, back in 2018, Tesla had 2.2 billion in cash in the balance sheet left, while NIO is currently, after today's news of the confirmed subscription of the bonds, they are likely to have more than 5 billion in cash. And so that's more than double the amount of cash than Tesla has. And they've been in a similar situation if you look at this trajectory between 2017 and 2018 of Tesla. And of course, it's about the future, what's happening in the future, and that is not certain. It's attached with risk. But what happened to Tesla is that they have narrowed their net losses, and I think that's very likely for NIO to happen in the next quarters too. In Q3, in Q4, hopefully, if the sales continue to go up, then we will most certainly see that the net losses will also become slower and smaller, maybe not as much and as quickly here as Tesla. You can see that it has fluctuated. They quickly turned into profitability for a couple of quarters, then back again to burning more cash, and then slight profitability until it really took off. And so the point that I want to make here is not about, NIO is the same company as Tesla, and following exactly in the trajectory. No, I just want to debunk those myths about NIO is extraordinary in terms of how much cash they are wasting, and especially if it's coming from Tesla investors. I don't know how you guys have actually invested back then in the company when it was burning that much cash as well. And by the way, you didn't have NIO houses, you didn't have NIO phones, you didn't have all of the other stuff that you blame NIO is doing wrongly because they are investing too much money. No. And so I just want to bring back a little bit of rationality into this discussion. Of course, you can go out and say, well, NIO doesn't have Elon Musk and so on, and it's been different times for NIO back then and so on. However, simply making the case because NIO is currently burning through that money, that is, in my point of view, a false projection to say this will not change in the future and they have no way of turning this ship around. And I think there was a case for Tesla and there will be a case for NIO, but in NIO's case this may take a little bit more time. It may also go the other way around. Maybe they have a problem in the future that they couldn't solve, or maybe they need to tap into more financing in order to maybe grow quicker, expand more, do other stuff. As I mentioned before, NIO is a different company than Tesla. However, simply saying, they need to stop burning cash and NIO needs to go back into profitability, I think it's very short-sighted, and it also doesn't stand this comparison here. So that's it for now. Very spicy video. I hope you enjoyed it. Thanks for watching. I appreciate your support. And now I'm heading to dinner. See you guys.